Hey, this is Ryan from Muscle Without Meltdown. Wanted to talk about protein today in a really quick, unscientific overview. So, getting right into it, protein, as you probably know, it's the macronutrient your body uses to repair and build muscle tissue along with some other tissue. So, logically, when we're trying to build muscle, it makes sense that we would want to provide the raw material, protein. And to do that, you simply put it in your mouth, chew it up, and swallow. Um, Now, protein can also be used by your body as fuel. It can kind of go through a process and convert it to glucose if it has to. So, if you're someone who's on a low carb diet and you're eating a ton of protein, some of that protein will, in fact, be converted to carbohydrate. But generally speaking, somebody eating, a mixed diet that has enough calories, the protein is pretty much just going to be used for repair, which is what we're going for. As far as how much protein you need, this is widely debated, but the rule of thumb you're going to hear is 1 gram per pound of body weight for an average person. Now, if you're somebody who is like significantly overweight, um, where you're pushing morbidly obese, you're not going to need to eat 300 grams of protein. You really only need to eat to match your muscle mass. So it can get a little confusing. So if you're a larger person, I would look up some alternate recommendations for that. I don't want to just give you one off the top of my head. It's still going to be high protein. It's still going to be, in the hundreds of grams. But, if you're 400 pounds, there's no need for you to eat that much protein because you don't actually have, that insane amount of muscle underneath all the body fat, if that makes sense. How often to eat protein gets confusing too. The truth of it is that, as long as you can get all your protein in even once a day, it's going to get the job done. But it does look like it's going to be more effective if you can split things up around 3 meals a day, or maybe at most like 5. And that just helps your body synthesize new tissue a little more, I guess, a little better. But it's not something that, like, if you were to only eat once a day versus eating 5 times a day religiously, I don't think we're going to see this massive difference in the quality of the body, assuming that the nutrition is identical. Because, and this gets into the next point, you hear all the time that, the body can only process X amount of protein in a sitting. And it turns out that pretty much there is no limit, no cap to how much your body can take in and process. It's just that if you eat, a couple 100 grams of protein, it's going to take you basically all day long for that to process through your system. So it's really no different than anything else. If you eat a big meal, what tends to happen is that you get it like bottlenecks, like a traffic jam in your body, and you just get the extended release of all that throughout the day. Versus if you eat a small meal, your body's able to kind of process it quickly and use it for energy, and then it's back to needing more food again. Neither one is, particularly superior. Eating more often is a little better for your digestion, I think. So you don't have to handle the large amount of food at once. But as far as like results at the end of the day, I wouldn't sweat it too much. Now, personally, I can't really see eating less than like 3 times a day. But if you can only swing once or twice, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. There's also this dry mouth here. There is also this concept of biological value, which people don't really talk about too much anymore, and I wouldn't get too into it. But basically, there's a way to rank the quality of proteins with how easily your body's able to use them. And so your milk proteins and your animal proteins are going to be higher on that list. And then as you start getting into plant proteins, it just gets a little lesser. And if you're a person that eats a plant-based diet, that's not the end of the world. You just need to essentially eat extra protein to make up for it. And really, there's no, like we're saying, there's no limit to how much you can eat. And there's really, if you're a healthy person, like it's fine to eat a pretty darn high protein diet, like hundreds and hundreds of grams a day. It just gets to be pretty expensive. Meat is not cheap. Protein powder is not cheap. By comparison, carbs are typically pretty inexpensive. So the cost can add up if you're doing really high protein. But the big reason people do it is just it really kind of crushes your appetite to have mostly protein, and the thermic effect is really high too. So when you eat a gram of protein, your body actually burns more energy working with that than compared to a gram of carbohydrate. So it's just a trick you can use to boost your metabolism. Isn't the right terminology here, but just you're burning off more just through the nature of what you're eating. And that can add up over time. Nothing major, but over time. The other thing to watch out for is just the fat content in proteins. Even in the protein powders, there's still typically a gram or two of fat in there. So if you're just spamming protein all day long, you want to make sure you got pretty lean sources because the fat can add up. But yeah, I think that about covers it. Just aim for a gram per pound of body weight, like everyone tells you. A little less will be fine, honestly. And a little more would be fine, honestly. So don't stress it out either way. As long as you float around that 1 gram, you'll be okay. And as long as you get enough protein for the end of the day, don't necessarily stress about when you ate it. But ideally, try to have 3 meals or so per day. I think that's all I got for you guys today. I'm starting to sweat really bad here, and I don't know what's going on because my AC is working back there. All right, I'll catch you next time.